Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer Huber, also known as Solo Travel Girl, and since June of 2022, 2 years, I've been using Mounjaro to manage my type 2 diabetes. And before I get into this week's update, I just want to remind you about my disclaimer that I am not a healthcare professional and I'm just sharing my personal experience and opinion about using Mounjaro to manage my type 2 diabetes. Also, I have no relationship with the drug manufacturer, and I have no relationship. That's my dog. If you can hear him growl. He's not growling, he's just doing his moaning. I have no relationship with any pharmacy that is dispensing Mounjaro. All right, my friends, let's get into this week's update. It's week 104 of Mounjaro, and this is week number 44 at the 7.5 milligram dose. I cannot believe it. This week marks 2 years using Mounjaro, and I am going to put up a picture from my very first Mounjaro post. And this other photo is a photo I took on my first day that I took Mounjaro, and this was actually on June 27th, 2022. And then this next photo of me and some fish that was taken on June 25th, 2022, so about 2 days before that, just to give you some perspective as to where I was 2 years ago to where I am today. And let me give you this week's update. I am referring to my laptop, so I make sure I get everything right. But I gained a pound this week, so I'm at 139 pounds this week, and so that means I've lost over 50 pounds, about 60 pounds, since being on Mounjaro. So I guess my doctor was right when I saw her a few months ago that I was going to start gaining weight. However, she thought I was going to be more in gaining 25 to 30 pounds since she said in information that she saw in the case studies about Mounjaro that weight loss tends to be about 20 to 30 pounds, and I went above and beyond in doing that. But hey, I'll take 2 pounds. I'm at 139. Here's a photo of me from last year on my Mounjaversary week at 137 pounds. Exercise, it was a full week of exercise. I had work, I had volunteering, but I did 4 days of Pilates bar training. I went to yoga on the night of the summer solstice to watch the sunset and the moonrise. And then yesterday and today I did lots of yard work. I cut the grass, did some trimming, I trimmed some trees back, and then I actually started working on my house. I have some cracks in my stucco, so I did that. So I was very active this week, and I'm sure I will feel it. I do want to make a note on the night of the summer solstice. I did hurt my foot. Specifically, I hurt my second toe on my left foot. There was a cinder block in the sand, and I didn't see it. And that was during daylight when I was going to the yoga session. The cinder block was the same color as the sand, and I just jammed my toe into it. It swelled up immediately, started turning purple, and I did go to the yoga session because it was very peaceful. For sure, I thought that I broke it, just the way that it bruised and swelled up. And I did go to the doctor for x-rays the next day, and I did that for 2 reasons. One, because I'm diabetic. Even though my glucose numbers have been normal the last 2 readings, or my A1C has been normal, I'm still a diabetic. I will always be type 2 diabetic. But anyway, it's very important to keep track of what's happening to your feet. It's just important to take care of your feet when you're a diabetic and make note of any sores or cuts or anything. So I did go to the doctor, wanted to make sure that I didn't break it, and just a little paranoia because a very close friend in the family, she died from a blood clot from a broken toe, and that was because she had to keep it stationary and everything. So anyway, by going to the doctor, I have that on record that I went and had an injury. After the x-rays and everything, the good news is it is just soft tissue damage. However, the bad news is that I do have pain and soreness. Now the swelling did go down, and my foot's going to be okay, my toe's going to be okay, but that was just a little normality, just to prove to you once again that I am a klutz in this world. My glucose numbers have been, I think, low 100s and 80s, my non-fasting in the mornings. And as you know, my A1C is now 5.6. When I first started this journey, I started off at 8.2. So last check, the end of January, is 5.6. I'm going to have my glucose or my A1C done again in August of this year. So when that happens, I will share those numbers with you. I don't know if you can hear Radcliffe. He's trying to come up here, I think. Anyway, and I also do take 1,000 milligrams of metformin twice a day. Nutrition, being mindful. However, I did go to fast food this week. I went to McDonald's. I don't know why I did it. I had a hankering for an Egg McMuffin. It wasn't all exciting as I thought it would be, but just trying to get back on track with that. Still making my yogurt and enjoying that in the morning. And so so this leads me to 2 years. This week marks 2 years of Mounjaro, and I just wanted to let you know that looking back from 2 years ago, I feel better. I feel more flexible, especially when I'm practicing yoga and Pilates or Payo, and I feel trimmer. I still have that perception that I look the way that I did 2 years ago when I started this journey, but when I'm going down doing exercises, especially like going down to touch my toes and everything, I'm still waiting for my gut to get in the way, but that doesn't happen. I feel more visible in this world, and I just think that's a weird result of this journey, but I do feel more visible, that there is less of me, and people seem to notice me more, and I think that's because my confidence has increased. And what is it? You attract what you emit, or something like that. But I just feel more visible. I feel healthier. During this journey, along the way, people are like, oh, wow, you must feel really good. And honestly, the first few months when I was losing weight pretty fast, I didn't feel all that good. I had the nauseousness of Mounjaro to deal with, and then I had lower back pain, and I felt tired. Lower back pain, I think that's because I was losing muscle mass, because I was losing weight so fast, losing fat so fast. I felt tired, and that was just basically one of the side effects of Mounjaro. I would get really cold, especially after taking an injection. It would be 90 degrees outside, yet I was still cold. But now that I'm 2 years in, my body's gotten used to Mounjaro, although I still have that little bit of nauseous feeling after I have an injection, like later that night, and the next day I do have some nauseousness. But I feel better. I feel healthier. I feel invincible in some ways just going through this journey, and importantly, I feel deserving. I've gone through a lot of imposter syndrome, I guess you can say, especially with being on CBS and NBC National News, that they did stories about Mounjaro a year ago, or over a year ago, and I was included in those stories, and part of it's like, why me? Why are you reaching out to me? There's so many other people out there, but I do feel deserving. And also, I worked hard at this as well. Mounjaro has been a great tool. I couldn't have done this with just Mounjaro if that was part of me, and I just want to let you know my keys for success with using Mounjaro. I moved more. I was pretty active before, but I did get on a regular routine of just moving, and I also cleaned up what I was eating. I am a big fan of the Mediterranean diet, and not necessarily that I follow that every day, but that's something that I did follow. I was big into my smoothies. As you know, I make my yogurt in the morning. I had my oatmeal phase, and I just worked hard at cleaning up my eating. The fact that food tastes different on Mounjaro, that really has helped as well. And the nauseousness makes food unappealing. Yeah, sure, that has helped. But I do have a choice. Should I have baked chicken or fried chicken? I should go to the baked chicken. I've been getting more sleep lately, and actually that's happened probably in the last 6 months, and I think that's helping on this journey. Something happened in my professional life. The office that I was working in actually closed, and even though there was an office near that office, I had the opportunity to move my main office to closer to where I live. So no longer do I have a 1 hour commute in the morning. My commute is now anywhere between 15 and 20 minutes. So that means I am getting a little bit more sleep in the morning, and also I'm getting home earlier at night. And at first I would get home like by 5:30 because I would be done at 5 o'clock. I'm home by 5:30 and I'm like, well, this is weird. Usually I'm home around 6:30 or 7. What am I going to do with this extra time? So I have been transitioning into focusing on sleep, and this is making all the difference because I was getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, and just being able to add an extra hour or two, that really makes a difference in achieving my health goals. I try really hard, and I don't compare my journey to someone else's journey, especially on social media. Your social media is just full of unrealistic lives, so to say. What you see of my life is a snapshot, but I try to be as real with you all as possible. No photoshopping, so to say. Obviously I edit because I stutter or stumble along the way. So my videos are edited, but I do show you a realistic slice into my life, whether it's a Mounjaro video or some of my other videos, my travel videos and my lifestyle videos. But I don't watch many other Mounjaro content creators online, and it's not that I don't support them. I think what they're doing is awesome, but I don't want to compare my journey to theirs. And I know a lot of them, they're just doing amazing things out there, and I could name off 5 that I follow, or I am aware of them. I don't watch all their videos, but I am aware of them, and I definitely don't compare my journeys. And you shouldn't compare your journey either, because everyone's journey is going to look different, and it could be discouraging if you're watching someone and you're thinking that they're having all this success and you're not. That could be very discouraging. So that's part of the reason why I don't do that as well. And then another key to my success was staying in touch with my healthcare professional team, so to say, when it was time to move up to the next level, or getting some advice on if there is a shortage. They were all set to put me on Ozempic when we had that shortage a few months ago, but that all worked out that I was able to get my prescription refilled anyway. But that's also because I gave my pharmacy plenty of notice before running out that I needed to refill that. So in a nutshell, those are the 5 things. Those were my 5 keys to success, I would say, that I have had with Mounjaro. Now, I know the medication isn't for everyone, and it's not going to have the same effect with everyone, but I think if you at least move more and clean up your eating and add more sleep into your life, I think that's going to help you have a healthier journey. And then I'm not quite sure what's going to happen after this, but I do know that I am going to continue making Mounjaro videos, but they are not going to be every week. I'm looking more at a monthly Mounjaro update. I do have a lot of content, lifestyle type content and travel content that I want to get loaded. And I know for the Mounjaro crowd, y'all aren't necessarily into those, but that's what I am passionate about. So I will be uploading more of that content in the coming weeks. And I just want to thank everyone for following me along on this journey. It's been an interesting ride. When I started this, I really didn't know what to expect. The whole reason why I started documenting my experience on YouTube, because I didn't believe what I had read about the case studies, the testing, the trials that people had gone through and the results, and saying that people lost a lot of weight on Mounjaro. They were also able to lower their A1C and just do amazing things. And sure, I have not only lowered my A1C, not only have I lost over 50 pounds, but I have also lowered my blood pressure. I'm no longer on high blood pressure medication because my blood pressure is normal. My cholesterol, I had, when I donated platelets a couple weeks ago, I got my cholesterol numbers and it was 165 and it should be under 200. I'm still on a statin, and ideally for a diabetic, that should be a little bit lower. So I have improving cholesterol numbers since being on Mounjaro. And then I think what is pretty wild is how my non-alcoholic fatty liver disease has been reversed since being on Mounjaro. So, I just feel that I'm entering a new chapter of my life right now, I have aging parents, and I do need to take care of some things later on this summer, so I'm focusing on that as well. And then my pre-retirement journey, I know I should have been planning for retirement as soon as I entered the workforce and way back in my 20s and so, but I didn't have conventional jobs in my 20s, unfortunately, and I was not very savvy in saving. And even in my 30s, I didn't have an employer that had 401k or retirement savings in that. So luckily, I did work in county government for about 11 years, so I have substantial savings in that, retirement savings. And then my new employer is all about retirement and preparing their employees for setting up and retiring comfortably. So retirement is well over a decade in my life, but this next chapter, I'm just considering my pre-retirement chapter, my pre-retirement journey, as I lay the groundwork and prepare for retirement. And my number one goal is to pay off my debt, and that's why I went to the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover weekend last month in Tennessee. That's another video I need to update or upload, but that's more of the direction that I plan to go, is a pre-retirement journey. And of course, health plays into that, and this is why I'm so grateful about the success that I have had on Mounjaro. All right, my friends, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate you. And remember, not only be kind to others this week, but please be kind to yourself. Thank you. Bye.